Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
It's the Kevin Huerter Show.
The Huerter for three rips the courts for the first 3 points of the ball game. Welcome to Sacramento, Kevin Huerter.
The Kevin Huerter Show.
Huerter, bring up another triple.
Presented by Jiffy Lube, with over 25 locations in the greater Sacramento area. Get your vehicle ready for the holiday driving season today.
Joining us right now for the first time in the new year, coming off a loss, but got a nice homestand ahead, looking to recoup, get some of those wins. It is the one, the only on the Red Velvet Lounge. Can't have a Red Velvet Lounge without Red Velvet. Kevin Huerter, what's up, buddy?
How you guys doing? Happy New Year.
How was New Year? How was it? How was your? Well, I know your New Year was in Memphis. Did you even do anything there?
Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
We went to dinner. You know, we got in, the usual, we flew in, we practiced, and then a couple of us went out to eat near the hotel. But midnight hit, I was laying in bed, hanging out. So,
what makes a good stop on the road? Being out or your friends, family? Like, what are some of your top spots to stop in the NBA?
I mean, the New Yorks, the LAs. I like Chicago. I think it's good on road trips when you get to stay after games, because then you can actually see people in town. You can go out to eat, you can socialize. Obviously, it's tougher when you're on the road, when it's just you fly in, you play, you fly out, you go to the next place, 2 a.m., you practice, you play, you fly out. Like, those are the road trips that kind of stink. So when you're on the longer ones, the ones that you get to stay over after the games are usually the better ones.
So was Sacramento low on the list when you were a Hawk?
To be honest, Sacramento's always, usually when teams come through for their West Coast trips, and every team gets out right away to go to LA. So it's always a stop. Either you're coming from LA or you're going to LA. So the trip is always based around trying to spend as much time there as possible. So Sac was always a quick trip.
Have you been in the league long enough to where you have developed certain habits in certain cities? Have you explored enough, or do you still, whether it's I got to try deep dish pizza in Chicago, or I got to do that, are you still doing that, or have you pretty much honed it in these NBA cities?
Yeah, my rookie year, I was like king of room service. I used to bring my PS4 on the road. I was like, would go to all these cities and not leave my room. And so I made a little deal with myself my second year, and still to this day, of unless I really have to, unless, there's an excuse, we get in late or something happens, like, I can't order room service. I have to go out to eat. I have to leave the hotel. So that's something that I try to do, is at least go get dinner. And but a lot of times on the road, you're getting a lot of treatment. So you're around the hotel, and depending on the city, you might have friends in town. But for me, I need to get out of my room and not just rely on room service to feed myself.
I know recently here, Kev, you had it was after the first Utah game at home. You went for 30. It ended up being a career high. Hit the big shot, too, to win the game. And I think you joked post-game that, it actually had been a topic of conversation how you'd never hit 30, which honestly surprised me. And now it feels like you can go north of 30 pretty easily. But what was it like to, one, get a career high, hit a game winner, and now chase that number?
Yeah, it's funny. We got a joke. Like Riley used to say, I was allergic to 30. I've had 29 like 5 or 6 times in my career, and the most recent, actually, I think it was last year. We were in Utah, and I had like 27 after 3 quarters, and I went like 1 for 6 to end the game. I couldn't make a shot, and even in that game, it was I missed a floater. I missed a 3 with like 50 seconds left. And it kind of got lucky. Like, I got like my 4th opportunity late, finally hit that one to get to 30. So hopefully it takes the monkey off my back. I think that was something that I think guys in the locker room were a little surprised at. That I got in high 20s, obviously a lot in my career, but never got over the hump. So obviously that was a big win, big shot. For us to beat them twice. Utah, they just one go away. Both games, it felt like we were controlling the game. Like, we were playing better than them in both games. There was like a 5-point game all game.
Yep.
At their place, it felt like we were a mini run from blowing the game open, getting it up to 20, and just like couldn't get over the hump to blow it out. So we'll take both wins, but they weren't exactly easy wins to come by.
So going back to that game winner, and I know a lot of Kings fans are going to nod their heads right now. The NBA put out a clip of, because Foxy missed the one shot, kicked out, Keegan swings to you hit the shot. The NBA tweeted the clip out as Mark Jones on the call with Katie of the the crowd, the pop from the crowd, like literally like destroyed speakers on phones and everything else. And I know in the moment, did you get a chance to watch it after? And in the moment, can you feel that pop as hard as we did watching on TV?
Yeah, I mean, that was chaos. It was, you know, I let the shot go. It looked good. Like right when I left my hand, it looked good. It felt good. And obviously you don't know till it's good, till it's going through the rim. So as I was walking forward, it was like you're so focused on the rim and everything else. It was like everything stopped and everything around me just went crazy. And so I definitely felt it. I mean, that was the loudest the arena has felt probably since I've been here. For that one moment. So, I mean, that was a sick feeling. I'm not going to lie. It was a great feeling. Obviously, being in that moment, I went back to the bench like, man, we better win this game. Like, that would – you take it all away if we don't come out with a win. But, no, I was excited, honestly, to get back and see the replay just to see how the crowd sounded on replay, just because on the court it was pretty sick.
I know a couple weeks ago when we talked, you literally hadn't had a chance to light the beam. Now you've done that. How are we? What do you have to do to get that chain? We got to get you a defensive player of the game chain.
That's a great question, actually. I don't know how I would rock the chain. I think that's maybe the coaches are cognizant of that. You know, they don't know if I look good in a big old chain. I finally did. I got the chance to light the beam on like my worst game in the past 2 weeks. That was the second night at Denver. I think I had 6 points. Malik had 30 something. I like barely played. And they asked me to light the beam. So I guess it gave me good luck for the next game, because the next game was at Utah one. But that was fun. I mean, you get to talk to the crowd. It's a little bit – they got to figure out the timing with it a little bit more, because it's like you slap the button and then nothing happens for 4 or 5 seconds. And so we'll get the efficiency up. I think it's something they're working on.
Bro, I know I don't want to make this sound easy, because I love the game ops people and they're killing it. But – I've been saying you got to hit the button, and then as soon as the button hits, even if it's somebody like with a little light switch in the back, all the lights need to go out, and then they need to have that like Dr. Dre THX sound come up, and then boom, beam from the floor to the ceiling, and then you turn on the beam outside. That's what it should be, because like you said, right now you hit this giant purple button, it's like, all right, but nothing.
Well, what would be going along with that, it's almost like the beam, there's like a countdown. Like the beam is lighting in 10 seconds and you treat it like TV, like, hey, stall the crowd until you get to the end of it. And then as you're hitting the beam, it's going to go off.
Yes. Let's get that to game ops, Jason.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
That happen. I know you've got the Lakers coming up, and I wanted to ask you about this specific play. I think I missed the last time you were on, and I'm sure you'll remember, because every time we ask you about something, you've got an incredible memory. So the last time you played the Lakers, Beverly scored a couple times, and he did that too small gesture. And you had like this perfect move, everything but the finish. I don't know if you lost it on the dunk, but I was so personally rooting for you. And I go, oh, what's Kevin going to do when he finishes the dunk? I didn't know if you were going to do anything to Beverly, or the satisfaction of just dunking basically on him would have been great. I'm sure you remember. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think our bench was ready to talk to him, because he was talking to everybody that night. He was talking to me, talking to our bench, talking to our coaches, and I mean that's Pat. That's what he does. It's like his impact on the game is getting everyone to play his game. So you're prepared for it. But yeah, I lost the ball going up, and the finish was not obviously what we were looking for. I think I was definitely ready to do something back. I don't know what I was going to do. Maybe in the moment I was going to think of something. But I think it was a big build-up that our team was ready to like have like a stick it to Pat moment at the end of this game, and it was a major letdown. So it's we'll try again for this Saturday.
But you got the win. I mean,
we got the win. Exactly. That's all that matters.
So your parents are in town, and I'm curious, is this the first time? I've never asked you this. Is this the first time they've come here to watch you play? And how is that? I don't know if you know this either, because obviously you're playing the game, but they got about as much FaceTime on the broadcast yesterday as you guys did. And Katie and Mark are talking about, well, that's a coach right there. You can tell, because he's not leaning back. He's elbows on the knees forward, just looking at the game. They were doing a whole thing on your parents yesterday. And I'm curious how it is when they come out and visit.
Yeah, my dad's pretty animated. So it's, I'm glad that the camera, I think later cut away. He was gonna he was going to be yelling out something. But yeah, well, they're in the Utah game. They're on the road, and so I think they parked out back, so all our team personnel saw that they were there, and so of course the next game they put them on TV. But they're really into the game. Obviously, they watch every one. The time difference makes it tough. They were out here for the first couple games of the season, so they saw the first home game that was out here, and haven't been able to make it out since. So they're here through the weekend, get to see a bunch in a row. But yeah, they get pretty animated. He's definitely into the game.
How much do they talk to you about? Excuse me. How much do they talk to you about you or the game or your game after a game that's played?
Yeah, every game. I usually get a long text, usually in the morning. This year it's been a lot about free throws. But in the past, it's just like, aggressiveness, saw this on your shot, defensively this. So it's just little things here and there, just to, in a lot of ways, let them know that they're watching.
You're a little younger than Jason and I, but we're young enough to at least remember this. You're in the NBA. You're a grown man. You're making millions of dollars. You're on the road, 40, 50 nights a year. It's a big boy's world. But when your parents come out, are you still young enough to where you can kind of relax into being a little bit of a child again? Like when they're here, you're the kid again, or you past that now?
Oh yeah, like when they're here, I don't do any of my laundry. I don't cook a single thing. I don't clean a single thing. Yeah. I get every little home project around the house is done for me. They're all going to come anytime they want. It's like everything gets put together while they're here, and then it stays that way usually till the next time they're here. So
and the fridge is fuller too, I would imagine, than when we talked last time. I imagine there's a few more things in the fridge.
Yeah, my mom, she's at the grocery store right now, so she's making that trip. They know. I mean, it's always been like that. It was like that when I was in college. Basically, since I stopped asking for money. We got those scholarship checks, and obviously in the NBA, I stopped asking for money. So they're like, hey, every time we come to town, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff.
That's awesome.
How are they like in Sacramento?
They like it. I mean, they could tell from the TV just how crazy our fans are. So that was like for them big. They're like, we want to come see the home crowd, and obviously they want to be at that Utah game at home, but they like it. It's very similar to Albany, New York, which is if you put it in context, I'd be from like the Roseville to Albany. Roseville to Sac is sure. Clifton Park is like that to Albany. So the city is actually very similar. Obviously, there's no pro teams in Albany, but the size of the city is and just how it moves and how it feels. So someplace that feels like home. Obviously, the weather here is a little bit better, even though it's been raining here for like 2 weeks straight. But they like it. They haven't spent much time out here. So as long as I like it, they like it.
All right, we're going to pause here for a second. We will take a quick break. When we come back, part 2 of the Kevin Huerter interview. We'll talk about the Laker game coming up tomorrow and so much more. Hope you're enjoying the Red Velvet Lounge, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. We're right back. Sactown Sports.
Check out the